I thank you for sharing your attention once again with me and with this stuffed Pikachu that I had bought my son a few years back for a month of Pikachu as I rebranded the Christmas season. I'm delighted that you're here sharing your time and attention and energy with me. And to be honest, I've just finished uploading a video that I created today of a message that I had sent out onto the UNN app or the community that I spend a lot of attention with. And I felt that this particular post was, I don't know, it just felt when I originally wrote it that the energy kind of flowed through me. And well, last night I experienced a rather interesting and important message, or I'll say GIRA report, where I learned a lot of things that essentially have stabilized many of the emotions that I'd been feeling for the last several weeks. And there was a pretty good explanation as to why and what we've all been experienced, especially those who are more open and receptive to the energies that are happening. And so I thought I would just jump on here and I don't know, talk about something. And essentially, like I said, one of the things where I hope that you will definitely share your attention with the video I just created. Actually, it's one of my not only more recent creations, but one of my few creations over the last few months. You see, one of the things that not I I'm not going to say that I learned, but I received a confirmation of is that since we are creative beings, and I refer to us Homo sapiens that live in this simulation, since we are creative beings, and that is a large part of our purpose, one of the things that was done to prevent us from connecting to God was to essentially steal our creativity or steal that energy or that ether which drives our ability to create. And I've definitely been, see, I was going to say one word and then I recognized that that was the inappropriate word that I did not wish to use. So I definitely have experienced that. I've experienced the lack of desire to create. And yet, I've always been an extremely creative person, loving, creative, compassionate when I wasn't being affected by external energies. And, anyways, that particular GIA report, which I will link here, it's from December 10th. It truly delve into the reasons why we are or we have been used for our energy, and it explained a lot to do with the matrix and such. So like I said, I really don't know what I'm trying to say in this message. I've had this feeling and I've had so many different thoughts racing through my head, especially while I was sitting here with God, with source, creating, co-creating my most recent creation. And although I could see several things that I could have done better, I felt that what I had created or co created in this sense was sufficient for my purpose. And my purpose was simply to essentially reach more people. And I had a really cool experience last night. And what it was is, see, I've mentioned oftentimes before that there were limitations imposed on me by, well, I'm not going to project any longer of that, but nonetheless, last night I had an awesome experience which exemplified that those limitations are dissolving. And what this was that I had shared a video and it was called, I'm trying to remember, oh yeah, it was called What If God Created AI? And this is a video that has been well, it's one of my favorite videos anyways. And so I posted this video while we were all awaiting the GIA report. And interestingly enough, or actually not interestingly enough, but a lot of the people that were in my community, they did link to it while we were waiting. And what had happened was that one of the members actually commented that the GIA report from Kimberly Gogan had actually come up as a recommended video in his feed, and he was impressed, and so was I. And it's interesting how we are changing, we are evolving, and how more things are becoming noticeable, and the essentially the connection between all of us is strengthening so much that even the filters and the sensors and all of the energies that would try to block the love and the message that's being shared from being shared, it is still essentially getting out there. It's furthering its reach. And yeah, so I was really, really impressed. And then I noticed that the number of impressions kicked up on the actual video that I created, and more organic views came in. And suddenly my video tripled in the views within a few minutes. And that was all an example of attention. See, I've often talked before, and perhaps this is what the message is about, is that where our attention goes, our energy flows. And in this case, where our attention goes, our ether flows. Our ether is our organic energy. Energy is a word for the artificial version of ether, as I understand it. Actually, ether was a word that was used a very, very long time ago, some 100 years ago, yet that word was stripped from modern science to perhaps you explain or, you know, anyways, the word ether has long since been removed. However, it definitely has come back. And so, with this being said, I definitely see and experienced last night that less is limiting us and more is encouraging us and more is supporting us. And I have felt a definite increase in support, not just from the community and the world at whole, but even from the baristas today at Starbucks. I went there this morning and I was blown away by how many of the baristas spoke to me by using my first name. And I truly, truly do appreciate that, because it's nice to be noticed. And I'm not taking it from an ego point of view, but it's nice to know that there are connections there all around us. And truly there are. There are many connections all around us that often we don't recognize and we don't see. Recently, my turtle, his name is Johnny, he's actually, after almost 20 years of having this turtle, who essentially was an inanimate object at times, meaning that it didn't even recognize who I was. And as soon as I came around, it would hide in its shell. And perhaps there was something about me that has changed. Of course, there has. However, the actual experience with my turtle has changed. Like right now, he's walking up to me and sniffing me and checking me out, and he looks with his eyes and he's staring up at me, and he has definitely changed as well. And so I notice all of these changes and I completely and totally appreciate them. And it's nice to see the world changing in the direction that we want and that, honestly, that we deserve. Life has been hard for the last few hundreds of thousands of years. And though we don't currently remember all of that stuff, many do, some do, I don't know which words I should use, but I've heard that many do. We have made this journey to this point that we now sit at, in this point of now. And I guess that's where my title of this video came up with. And perhaps this feels like it has no direction, but it is directed towards now and tomorrow. And that's what the video that or the message that I had sent for December 11th was, that the most important thing that we can do right now is to do our best to remain in the now, in the present moment, and to avoid spending energy thinking about what could be, because all the coulds and the shoulds that we perhaps have in our mind aren't necessarily what God is intending to come to us. Many people believe that different things are happening right now, and some for the great of humanity or the greatness of Homo sapiens, and some people believe that other things are happening which they would prefer not to happen. And yet, when we spend energy on focusing on those things which we would prefer not to happen, amazingly enough, that's generally what comes into our reality, because we are co creative beings. We work alongside, in my opinion and my belief, with God. And I got a lot of more clarity from that report that I was listening to last night. And I hope that you will have the time to listen to it as well, and perhaps share with me on this video your cognitions of what you experienced while watching that video. For life has been, or the reality that we have lived in, existed in, survived in for the longest time, has not necessarily been something that we personally would have chose to create. At times, yes, with God we were always connected, yet there were a lot of external forces that worked against us to essentially force us to co-create the reality that they would choose. And now that so many more people are waking up, so many more people are putting on that creativity cap, creating paintings and videos and bike riding and hiking and doing things that would essentially enhance their energy as sources creations, and reconnecting to our divine ability to co-create. I just, I would totally love to share and express all the different insights, and yet perhaps I'm just waiting for the hot water to start boiling so that I can start releasing the steam. I don't know. I don't know where those ideas are coming from in my head, but I'm sitting here staring at all these different plants in my home and different paintings and things that I've co-created over the years, and the books that I've read and the knowledge that I've gained, and remembering the wisdom that God affords me. And so, with that being said, I'm going to leave this as a very short message. I know sometimes I can go on for a long, long time. So, I'm being cognizant of that, because I'm aware that we don't always have an hour to sit down and listen to something. And so, for those times and those people that have done that, I definitely appreciate it. If you do wish to perhaps meditate, I do have a video. It's called The Dawn of the Feminine Divine, and it has a rather long meditation sequence to it. So definitely look into that if you're interested. However, I will leave you with much love and great satisfaction for everything that we are co-creating together on this long, long walk home that, by the way, is just about over. And over, I don't necessarily mean anything in a negative light. I mean that we are almost arriving at the point where many people have been waiting for a very long time. And I hope that, like the night before Christmas, that we're all excited because we, in our hearts, know that things are changing, have changed, and will continue to change, because that is the state of being in now, living in that constant state of change. And while we have been essentially programmed to fear change, change, I believe, is a natural state of our experience, because with change constantly happening, we're constantly experiencing new things and new challenges, and we're growing. Just like a tree, for example, who is constantly pitted against the wind, it can only grow stronger. So thank you so much for sharing this amazing message, this amazing moment in time with me right now, and of course with Pikachu as well. So may the day bless you. May tomorrow come and gifts arise and love flourish everywhere. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to hear and see what you have to say in the comments. Love, always. Source flows through me.